Welcome to Universe Says. I'm Angela Copeland, and we have landed today on Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. My friend in Castle Rock, Sherry's birthday. Happy birthday, Sherry. Curious to see what our quote might say. Might be good for your birthday. Maybe a good birthday quote. Maybe not. We'll find out. So I've got my calendar, right? And we'll do a cold reading on what the quote is for today on the 10th of March. And whenever you happen to watch this, it's the universe telling you you need to have a moment to think about the quote, even if it's not on the 10th of March, right? All right. So here we go. Oh, dang, I passed it. It's Winston Churchill. We've had one of his before. Never, never, never give up, I think, was what was earlier this month. So Winston Churchill, you have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something sometime in your life. Yeah, going along to get along is not necessarily the best path forward, and is certainly not being true to yourself if you're always going along to get along. There are going to be times where you probably disagree passionately inside, but you don't let anyone else know, and you just go along. So Winston Churchill, you have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something sometime in your life. It's also, I think about just try not to please everybody all the time, comes to my mind, and not just saying what people want to hear, even if it means the truth could hurt in some way. It can still be said in a compassionate way, right? It's not about being mean just because you disagree and you stand up for something. And certainly does not have to mean that a friendship or a love relationship splinters because there is a disagreement in thought about something. So Winston Churchill, you have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something sometime in your life. It's a difficult thing to do, though, isn't it? To stand up for something in your life when you know people around you are going to think differently than you about it. It certainly in the climate of the last little while, years, really, whether it's in the realm of politics, religion, you name it, there's a lot of this going on when you don't have to have this. I think of enemies, maybe that's a strong word, enemies. It's just someone who doesn't stand with you on a particular subject. Maybe not an enemy. That might be a strong word. Anyway, have there been times when you've stood up for something that was difficult because you knew you might get some blowback from people that you care about, or maybe even just people in general? Sometimes we're not worried about the people that we love. Sometimes they think about us, it could just be acquaintances or darn strangers, that we're somehow concerned about how they perceive us. I would love for you to make a comment about maybe a time when you maybe wanted to stand up for something and didn't, or a time when you did, and how that made you feel and what consequences maybe there were. And there's consequences either way, right? Whether you go with the flow or you stand up. So curious to hear what those consequences were personally as well as relationship wise. So thank you, Winston Churchill, for another fantastic quote. He always is a treasure trove of wisdom, isn't he? You have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something sometime in your life. So I want to thank you for joining me today. Let me know what you think about what Winston Churchill had to say. And until we meet again, take care of yourself.